Hey all, this is Barry of Anglesey. I'm making a quick video on how I make my chin strap. I get requests every now and then. Not that I have the most amazing chin strap, only I've been fighting for 30 something years and I do actually have a pretty decent chin strap. I'll describe how to make it. The real basis of this chin strap, it is a 3-point mounting system, meaning there's 2 points on the helmet, right here, this rivet, and then the chin. So what it does is it creates a triangle between pretty much your ear, the lower jaw, and then the chin. And when you have this triangle, it's very stable. It doesn't tend to rock. Versus if you only had 1 point on the helmet, it can pivot on that particular point. What you're going to need is leather, either a thin piece of vegetable tan or a piece of latigo. There are some downsides to latigo. One is that it tends to stretch, and I do have to replace my chin straps every so often. It can break on you if it stretches too much, and they're often dyed, and I often get a mark left on my chin. The downside to vegetable tan is that it's hard to find a nice, thin, comfortable piece of vegetable tan. We want to cut the piece into an oval. Okay, in addition to the leather, you want hole punch, scissors, some sort of knife or X-Acto knife. Once you've cut out the oval that is big enough to kind of go around the cup of your chin and a little bit further, you want to use the hole punch with a fairly wide setting. Actually, I use the widest setting. And we want to cut 3 holes on each side with a little bit of give so that the holes don't rip into each other. Okay, now I have 3 holes on either side. The outer 2 holes on each side are going to be for the cord to go through. And the inner 2 holes are just to help you cut the chin cup. I'm now going to cut the chin cup. Okay, so I've used the 2 middle holes to cut a little gap in there. This is what fits right over the chin. Okay, and then what you're going to need from here is you're going to need some boot lace. This is 60-inch boot lace. I use boot lace because laces are designed for tying. Paracord is not designed for tying, so this can tie and untie. You're gonna need some rivets. I prefer brass rivets. This here is a steel rivet, but you can see it's got a nice look to it. The brass rivets look the same. Brass rivets are plenty strong. You can also use copper rivets, which are easier to work with, but they're not as good looking. And if you have like a last minute emergency, you gotta get this ready for a big event, you can always use just like some nuts and screws, nuts and bolts. If you do the nuts and bolts, make sure you get nylon bolts so that they don't come unscrewed. Again, that's a pretty ugly fix, but it's doable. If you use the copper rivets, you want to get this rivet tool. This helps the washers set down on the rivets. Okay, it's got a little hole on it. You stick this on top of here, hammer it down, and it goes flush. I'm not really here to teach you about how to rivet things. Ball peen hammer, the little curved section helps flatten out everything once you mash it down. You're gonna need some sort of snips to cut it off. Riveting can be tricky. I'm not here to talk to you about riveting. 60-inch boot lace. Take the boot lace, cut it in half. And what you're ultimately gonna do with this chin strap, okay, is you're gonna get 4 D-rings. They don't have to be very big. I'll show you a video inside my helmet. I actually use ones I buy from Home Depot that are meant for hanging pictures. They're not the strongest. You should probably get something stronger from like McMaster Carr. It's what I use, it's been safe. And what I do is I take this end, I tie it off on the D-ring that is near the bottom of my jaw. So it's tied off here. And then we're going to go through the outside hole. And then it's going to go up through the D-ring that is near the ear. So this one's tied off at the jaw. This one goes up to the ear and loops down. It's going to come back through the inner hole. Okay, so we tie it off at the jaw. It goes up, hooks over almost like a little pulley, and then comes back through this bottom hole. The only purpose of this bottom hole is that when you tie it off, it stays on the chin. You're not tying it off underneath the neck or up over the mouth or the nose or anything, okay? And what this does is this creates a system where when you pull it tight, it's got this little pulley system, and ultimately you're going to form a triangle between the lower jaw and the ear and your chin. And it's going to keep the helmet from rocking. It'll often pull the helmet, onto your head and the face grill away from your face. You can tie this off. I actually prefer this little plastic button system right here. You can get these on Amazon. I unfortunately can't remember what the search feature is, so try a bunch of different things. But this will fasten the laces together, and then you can just sort of slide them up, push the pin, slide them up. That works for me pretty safely. You're gonna have to try it yourself to make sure that you're comfortable using it. Problem with tying them off is every now and then it's hard to get the knot undone and it gets stuck on your head after you're tired, and that's never a fun thing. Okay, here's the view from the inside of the helmet. Here's the back of the helmet. Here's the front of the helmet. You can see the chin strap right here. It's got the split, it's got the two holes. And again, you see it ties off. Let's use the bottom one. Ties off on the bottom ring here. Goes through the hole of the strap up to the top ring, loops around it, comes back through the strap into that inner hole, and then it ties off. And then when I tighten this thing up, pull on this, and then it gets tightened up here on the chin.